To quote the immortal words, it was fast, things were cool. Maybe not cool, but it was fast. So
We
y'all
met some dude, and we talked to him a lot. He taught us a lot of stuff. That was kind of cool.
that was kind of cool. You got some stuff and some other knowledge and some other stuff. You also encountered the Morningside Institute, Dr. Ambrosia, and the Uglies.
Oh, not so nice. I crushed her head.
Oh my!
Don't worry, she'll get over it.
Doesn't sound like it's
They always
that
do.
powerful.
But you had been given kind of the leeway that to find out an answer to this thing that's happened and to track down this old man who may or may not have set up his own attack for whatever purposes. Does that sound roughly familiar?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Does anybody else want to
We
add
know
any
that man's
information?
name. And I'm sure somebody more competent than I. We even know that man's name. And
The
somebody
old
more
man-
competent than me.
The old man who was on the train was named Jack Ransom.
Not Jack Ramsey.
Somebody else entirely, Jack.
The very same.
Actually, it was Gordon Ramsay, and now you're all basically being made to feel terrible. And he's screaming.
We deserve it.
enemies.
Because his name's actually Jack?
Possibly, yes.
Or Gordon.
Either way.
Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay.
So, when you last left, you've been given pretty much a method of communication and a little bit more free realm, but also a polite warning that if Syndicate ventures off, they may try to make another grab for him. And y'all had ended up back at Scaredevil's headquarters, where you were treated to lukewarm lemonade and all the wheat cakes you could eat.
Man, those wheat cakes were lame.
Little slices of wheat cakes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly very good.
And nourishing. Very nourishing.
I find them very, very helpful.
I wouldn't say they're healthful, but
They're nourishing, good, and lame.
it's like eating a small can of the flexible sealant that's very popular right now.
Yeah.
You
Very
heal?
solid.
What?
Wheat cakes are like a
Flexi Soft.
FlexiSoft, the portable sealant you can buy in a can.
Oh my.
So, that being the case, you are all at this moment together, which is not a deal in and of itself because it looked kind of like it was going to go south on at least two occasions for whatever this information is. A lot of people have shown interest in it. And you do have this information. Some of it you already know. Some of it is still being processed and will be available to you right now. Scaredevil's headquarters is the basement of this house that he's renting.
Yes, it is.
Full shoot. It's perfect. He's got a map. He's got different faces. You don't want to know what happened to some of those people. I'm sure they don't want to know some of those people. But it is probably close to, see, the battle on the street. At this point, it's probably right around 1 a.m. Maybe after, maybe probably about 1:15, but clearly early morning of the next day. What would y'all like to do?
Did we just arrive at this Maryland?
I think you got teleported.
You managed to get back to where he's at, so I would say you've been here for probably close to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Not for super.
Gazorp, or whatever my character's name is yes, looking for a place in which he could rest his head to sleep. I'm going to yell at someone now, and I'll try and mute myself.
Yeah, not a problem. There's a cot that normally Scaredevil uses. He won't be using it right now, so you can easily take over his only place to rest and drift
No,
off.
I gotta replace this.
drift
You
off
just don't know it.
a nice sleep.
Yep, that's what Goobly Goop's doing.
So,
So we should probably clean this up, right?
hmm?
So to the rest of the group, kind of all sitting around, thought.
I'm cleaning my guns for that right now.
Oh, you're cleaning your.
He's like fixing up the guns. He's cleaning the barrels out.
That's all nice and good, but what was on Fox?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. What was that, Ken?
I told him that's all nice and good. What he's doing, but what were you saying?
Oh, I was saying we should. It feels like we
Me?
should probably try and find that old guy.
I think you're right. I agree. So what do we have to go on? Thought you're the brains of the group, right?
Well, no, I'm the speed of the group.
So it's not Resort, thank God.
Not me, I don't think.
Certainly not Scaredevil. Where are you going?
Well,
I
ironically,
think it's between Syndicate and
ironically
Pack.
enough, y'all were given this contact thing with a little bit of information that was in the processes of decryption. And it has a picture of the old man, as well as a picture of when he was younger, and some background information on him. And
Read that.
it's
Something
interesting
we haven't got.
because it'll actually digitally play independently and show you a great deal of like clips of different things. Jack Ransom was a crime reporter in the late 1930s, early 1940s. He was fairly well known for being the kind of reporter that was like the two-fisted guy that, let's get to the bottom of this story or whatever. He was loosely associated with a group called the Distinguished Society, which were a group of heroes at the time. They were formed in the 30s. They disbanded in the 60s, early 1960s, around 62 to be specific.
The day before the event.
The day before the event, yes, absolutely. They disbanded the day before the fall, an event that wiped out pretty much all superhumans, 80% of the superhumans in North America. And effectively, he was, after the event, he was, they don't really go into how it happened, but effectively he lost favor within the newspaper circles and retired quietly and was not seen from again.
All right, so I had not heard before that he had lost favor. That might explain a little bit of something that's going on. Part of why he would be.
Yeah.
Had he been known? Do we know if he'd been known to do anything else that would make, he was affiliated with a distinguished society, which I assume that he was in general a good guy. Is that correct? Or at least not a bad guy.
I'll try to put it to you this way. Being an affiliate to the Distinguished Society, the Distinguished Society's primary members were very good. Give me a percentile dice roll there, Kinjman.
Yeah. How about an 05?
Excellent. Sure, he could seem like a pretty decent fella. If he was affiliated with them, he'd have to be.
Exactly. All affiliates of Super from good guys.
He actually, according to the information you guys got, this guy at one time was considered to be one of the best crime reporters we had ever seen, if not the nation. He won. He did okay. He was not a great writer. He lucked out by being in that place. But he did right around 1961, he had a burst of creative effort that netted him the Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, this world's getting rather.
I would say probably this world's who was the freaking Iraq reporter who was like the Scud Stud.
Come on, buddy.
And I know you're talking about the name.
Wolf Blitzer?
No.
That's actually a better analogy. This world's Wolf Blitzer.
Oh,
For a
where is
second,
Wolf
before
Blitzer
I
now?
decide to unleash my
That's
psionic
wonderful.
powers like Dr. Manhattan, I still have great hair. Larry King will be on later. I'm Larry King, also known as the Lich Lord of CNN. I died some time ago, but keep myself as stand with the delightful juices of the young. Right after this message, more with Larry King. And a sacrifice to the great old ones.
Who is Larry King?
Who is Larry King?
All right, so what we had this come in, and then they're trying to get us a FaceTime with the one distinguished society member that's still.
Yeah, they were trying to. They said that what they would do is they would reach out to the only distinguished society member that is within the capabilities of conversation. Some of the distinguished society members that are still alive obviously are not having anything to do with social situations or anything like that. But there is one who is somewhat known. He was probably the first, what they would call metahuman of the 20th century, and he's also one of the first African American metahumans. His name is Ulysses Darrow. Darrow is devoted himself privately to overseeing, he goes and helps disaster recovery or things like that. And Darrow will apparently, they're going to reach out to him to see if he wouldn't want to have a conversation about this, since Jack Ransom was believed dead. His very presence is throwing things off.
How prominent are shapeshifters in this world?
I'm sorry, Ken, I couldn't quite hear you.
How prominent are shapeshifters in this world?
Well, it's not like Marvel where there's well, probably it is. There are shapeshifters. There are types of all sorts of powers. Seeing people change their shape, is it not uncommon? It's more common than not. When we started this game, I think I told you that probably 2 years previously, 9.3 million aliens of 17 different races have made their home on Earth. And
Right, that's why I was asking.
Well, you're kind of in the room with one right now.
You're different. I'm talking about ability to shift one shape to a specific.
Okay, yeah, and anything you want.
So we're all concerned that this is all a ruse by some sort.
Absolutely. Well, while Gazorp snores away, and you've now finished, congratulations, Scaredevil, you've now finished exactly 1/3 of the firearms you carry. In the period of time it's taken for them to get all this other information, you finished at least 1/3 of the guns. So, apparently...
I'll do this later.
Do you want some help with that? I can maybe help speed things up a little bit.
If you want to, go right ahead.
Apparently, from what you understand, Scaredevil is a firm proponent of the Second Amendment. He gets Christmas cards from gun shows. It's kind of, he has enough weaponry in this short area. You're fairly certain he could take over Finland.
The NRA has him on speed dial.
The NRA is actually calling him to say, listen, we are all about the Second Amendment, but you really need to cut down a little bit. You're making us look bad. You have a lot of guns. But within probably about 15 minutes of opening the file, the little thing begins to beep, and it seems to show that it has an incoming communication. You just have to touch it to set it off if you wish to do that here in the middle of Scaredevil's command headquarters.
I'll touch it.
What? Beacon, do you have like a more secure headquarters somewhere?
No.
Oh.
I was literally just standing here thinking, how the hell did we get stuck here? But I've got no better option.
Okay, I thought you were more like a established superhero with like a lair and everything, but okay.
Oh no, I got.
Boys, you're not listening.
Yes, Riley?
So, the question that I have though is, who's that fucking lady? And can she be trusted, Scaredevil?
She makes a good wheat cake.
Wheat cake lady. Who the hell is she?
I believe that's Scaredevil's landlady, or aunt.
Okay.
Oh, you mean
The name is
the
not
old
Eric.
lady?
Is it? Yeah, the freaking lady with the wheat cakes that was down here asking about lemonade and all this other stuff. Like, who is this woman?
You want me to say we're...
I want you to tell me, is she trustworthy?
Well,
That's what
I've
I
been
want
living
to
her
know.
for a couple of days now. She seems trustworthy to me.
She also seems to be a little bit. She keeps calling him Peter.
Yeah, just like, what the
Who the
heck?
hell is Peter?
I don't know.
Well, is Peter you?
I assume that was your name.
nothing. Nope. It's Richie.
Vicky?
Fine. We probably shouldn't let them hang too long. Answer the phone. There, good boy. And she's looking dead at Beacon when she says that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last phrase.
Answer the phone there, good boy. You're Mr. Goody Goody here, do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I opened.
If you didn't, no eyes.
Simple enough. You hit a button. You hear a clear clarion tone. It's actually not a painful tone. It's actually a fairly pleasant tone, a connection tone. And a moment later, a little holographic light emerges, and you see the young woman who you saw in the spaceship Red, or Rose.
Ms. Red.
She basically goes, "I'm connecting you now." I
Thank you, Ms. Red.
apologize. The connection on his end is probably very spotty.
I'm sure you did all you could.
A moment later, you see an older African-American gentleman who looks a bit like Carl Weathers. An older Carl Weathers. A bald, older Carl Weathers. If you're not familiar with Carl Weathers, he played Apollo in the Rocky movies.
Yeah, you're talking stuff Jackson's never heard of.
No, I heard of the Rocky.
Here, I'll show you. I'll even do better. Give me 1 second, Jackson.
My favorite was Apollo 13. Like the rest of the Rocky movies.
Good.
You
But
know,
that's
my
not the
favorite
same.
was the Rocky 27. That's the one where he came back from the dead and fought an alien.
Oh,
Was it
nice.
Warp?
Huh?
Was it Warp?
No, Gazorpazorp is. Here we go. Carl Weathers.
Does he look like Mr. Darrow?
He does. That is Mr. Darrow.
I don't know, see Carl Weathers. I know what he looks like.
Yeah,
Of course you do. You probably know all the.
He was in Predator as well.
He was in Predator as well. He was also in Happy Gilmore.
Yes, he
Oh,
was.
I know Happy Gilmore. That's a funny movie.
Okay, so the black guy that gets his hand bitten off by the alligator, that's Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah, that's
That's Carl Weathers. That's Mr. Darrow. For a man that was active in the 30s, he sure looks like he's only in his 60s.
I don't think that math checks out.
It does not check out. Good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you for speaking with us, Mr. Darrow.
He's got a headset on, and you can clearly see that it's raining where he's at. That's not a problem. I do apologize. I'm only getting some of your words, so I do. If I have to ask you to repeat yourself, it's not age. It's just location.
That's fine. I don't know how much you know about what we're working on.
I don't know any of it. I was simply contacted by the UN director, Deckard, and he said that you needed to speak with me, and it was a matter most urgent.
Yes, it's it concerns an old associate of yours by the name of Random, Jack Random.
Ransom.
Yes, sorry.
Mr. Darrow's not one of those people that can play his emotions close to his chest. You actually see him take a long moment before he responds, and it doesn't look like it's an actual good moment. You're saying that this deals with Jack Ransom?
That's correct.
I see. And did you see Jack Ransom? Is Jack Ransom in New York now?
I did see him, right?
If you were on the train, you saw him.
Well, we weren't. I don't think we were on the train, but we were there after the train.
We saved the train.
Right. What I'm trying to say is, if you were a part of the train situation, I think a number of you did see him.
Yeah, I think we did. I did see him, but I was too busy.
He much like some others, he seemed not to have aged quite as much as we would have expected, I think. But it was yes.
Darrow looks like the best example I can give you of the expression that plays over his face is it looks like someone's received a bitter pill and bad news all at once. He definitely seems like this has bothered him, and he quickly tries to cover, but everyone who's paying attention to the hologram sees that play out on his face. Jack Ransom should be dead. If you say he's in New York, I'm sorry, who am I speaking with specifically?
Oh, apologies for not introducing ourselves. I am Beacon. This is
I'm Thought.
Thought. Well, I'll let the others introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'm Thought. I'm from Minneapolis, St. Paul. You probably haven't heard of me, but you will, maybe. But don't die first.
You hear a loud snoring coming from the couch. That would be Sharp.
Can I go walk over and try to wake him up?
You can always try.
I'm gonna try.
And what methods will you use to try to wake him up?
I'll just. So does he have like a pillow or something? Next to him? Yeah, I just grab my pillow, be like, wake up, wake up, wake up.
He tries to punch you. It's not a hard punch. It's a friendly, like, what the hell are you doing waking me up punch.
I guess.
Where did I punch you in the head? I punched you in the head.
There it is. Then you've hit him in the hardest part. He'll be fine. He'll walk it.
Well, there's the RP. I'm up. I'm up. What do you want?
I got him, Beacon.
And that's googly goop.
We're really bad.
Indeed.
We've just come from a meeting with Mark. I apologize. It was 2 weeks ago. The big guy that we talked to,
Director Deckard.
Director Deckard, and he was kind enough to get us in touch with you, and in hopes that you might have any information that would help us figure out what's going on. Perhaps you would know why that this would have. It sounds like he contracted to have himself kidnapped.
At that point, the old man again looks like something's crossed his mind. He's trying to draw people out. I'm not at liberty to talk about it right now. We're in the process of containing this, but I'll be on the next plane that I can get to bring me back to Manhattan. Is this a good line to contact you on? I should be there by the morning.
Yes, this is this, to my knowledge, this is a secure line. Yes.
It's very important you listen to what I say right now, if nothing else. Jack Ransom can never be trusted. Jack Ransom is a dangerous man, and more importantly, there are lots of people hunting him.
Why is he didn't look that dangerous?
Trust me when I tell you that. Jack Ransom, certain people will stop at nothing to get a hold of him. And I'm a peaceable man, but there were a few moments in the past where I wouldn't have minded. But it's better we have that conversation face to face. I know why he's in New York. The real question is, I'm hoping I can get there before anything else happens or anyone else shows up.
Is there anything we can do while you're en route that would facilitate what you need to do when you arrive?
Well, it's probably best that if you know where Ransom is, you don't approach him yet. You cannot trust him. You cannot. The man is dangerous. Not because of what he can do, but what he represents.
What does he represent?
For me, it's the unknown. He hurt somebody I was very close to, and he had other things, but I think it's best I tell you that face to face. I apologize. I'm not trying to be pragmatic. It's more that certain things I still don't trust going over vocal communication. A place to meet. If you have this communicator, I'll reach out to you once we have something. I know what he's looking for. If you're involved, though, you should just be careful for yourselves. Ransom is a two-timing, double-dealing snake. And he should have died. Multiple times.
I think we'll definitely take that to heed if we do happen to encounter him, but I'm sure that will happen. You know, do what we can. Safe travel.
Well, then I'll see you in the morning.
The racket.
That is a good question.
Seems like it's Carl.
That's not. No, he's
Yeah.
mute.
It was Carl for some reason.
Oh, it's Carl.
Sorry, I'm in a busy place.
No worries. Probably, if you sit here for another 20 minutes, the little thing lights up again, and it's giving coordinates to meet at about 7 a.m. in the northern part of what would be considered the cloisters in New York, up on the far northern part of the island.
And it's like 1:30 or 2 now, right?
Yes, it is.
And I'm guessing we are all
And
exhausted,
It's
Okay.
been a long day.
so we could get maybe 4 hours of sleep.
You could.
Zorp is already on the couch again asleep.
He's already what?
he's already asleep. Great.
Asleep.
Okay. Sleep again. Got it.
All right. Well, I will. I'm going to go back to my apartment. I will meet you guys at these coordinates.
Oh, you got that done for me?
What?
You're
Finish
helping
the
me
gun?
clean the gun.
Yeah. So I assume that I cleaned the guns in pretty short work. I mean, pretty short work.
Absolutely. You're able to get everything put together nicely, and it's all good to go.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Glad to help. But yeah, it's real late, and I'm gonna have to call in sick to work tomorrow. So I'm gonna go work on my fake cough.
Trust me, you gotta work.
So yes, like I said, I'll meet you guys at the coordinates, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yep, 7 sharp, I guess. I say that.
All right. So and then I leave.
Okay.
Right now, something.
How far is
I
it from?
say. You go, Ken.
Go ahead, Jackson.
Go.
I was going to. How far is it from where I live?
Well, it's at the very northern end of the Manhattan Island proper. It's up next to Columbia University's athletic complex. You're up near the Transit Authority's main headquarters, so it's a pretty good hike.
Apologies. How far am I right? How far is this hole in the earth away from where I live?
Hey, it's not a hole. He says
That's
that.
true. It wouldn't to work. Hole.
I would say you probably would. What kind of place do you normally live at?
I'm assuming just a house that.
Okay, so
Modest
you probably live
house.
over in Queens.
Brownstone, maybe.
Yeah, you can live over in Queens. I think the best way to describe it would be the fact that you're probably at least a couple of. Well, you're not going to use traffic. You're going to fly, right?
Right.
You probably do all right getting over there.
If it's fairly close, I'm going to go there.
Right, not a problem. You head home for a quick night's rest, or what's left of one.
Yep.
Raleigh. I assume right now your syndicate is Riley, right? All right, I'll come back. What about you, Scaredevil? Your guns are cleaned, everything's put together?
But I have a gooply goop on my thing, and I mean, he's like,
Peter? Peter?
it's not Peter.
Peter, are you having a sleepover with your little friends? Do you need more sleeping bags?
No, I got it.
Do you want to make a pillow fort?
No, just go, please.
She goes upstairs. You're able to find a comfortable spot. Your bed has been taken over.
Yeah, this is not gonna be for that much long.
No, it'll be gone soon.
Yeah, I'm saying might have to help him find a place so he can not be where I am. So
That's
I want to
a
wake
good idea,
wake
except
him
you're
up.
going to have to wake him up from where he's at.
Oh God! I might have to get somebody to help me with that.
Hey, my dear. My suggestion would be is this: the nice old lady upstairs asked if you needed different accommodations, and you're going to try to move that enormous man. Just take the accommodations in which your mother or grandmother or whoever that woman is has asked you, and we'll get gone in the morning.
Yeah.
And she pushes you in the back and starts pushing you up the stairs. We can still hear Gazorp snoring as we walk through the
The
doorway.
neighbors can actually hear Gazorp.
Snoring away. Just snoring. Yep.
They're worried that an event is happening in Manhattan, but then they realize it's just that guy snoring.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
So,
Yeah.
do you? What is her name again? Daredevil.
She says that her name is Aunt Martha.
Aunt Martha.
Martha.
It's very nice to meet you.
My mother's name was Martha. Oh,
Suddenly, Beacon starts going, "Why did you say that name?"
It's
Wow.
a great Tom Waits song.
I think we will take you up on those accommodations.
Are you one of Peter's little friends?
My name's not Peter.
Hey, hey! And she puts up her hand right to your mouth, Scaredevil.
Yes, you don't know where my mouth is.
Respect your elders. Aunt Martha, I don't believe. Yes, I am a friend of this man here. I don't believe he's Peter, though.
She considers that for a moment. Is he playing one of his little games when he puts on his little jammies and pretends to be a superhero?
Nah, I don't know. I really don't. We're not really playing anything. We just we have to go to work tomorrow morning and it's getting late.
Well, I'll let you go. Here's some more blankets and a few pillows.
Thank you very much. Your hospitality has been wonderful.
Well, any friend of Peter's.
Come on, Peter.
I already left.
All right, so that's fine.
I just got the pillows and the blankets. I
So
just left immediately.
She has a private bedroom. Is would that be understandable for Riley to use?
Several rooms upstairs.
All right, Riley certainly makes her way upstairs.
She's taking you to a private room downstairs. There's actually a few rooms downstairs.
I don't want to be anywhere near that gazop, guys.
So you want to take one of the bedrooms upstairs?
Please.
All right.
But you bet you still hear it as you're walking up.
So much snoring.
Well, do you need
Yeah.
some inner earplugs, dear?
No,
Okay.
I've trained myself well to drown out all kinds of noises. Thank you, Aunt Martha. I'll see you in the morning. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Have a good night, dear.
Yeah. And as soon as the door closes, she turns from into just to, into Silas, into Syndicate's regular, half Asian man form. And he starts thinking to himself, and what he's very concerned about is Chiller. He's concerned about this entire Chiller thing, and the reason why is because Riley's thoughts have really been starting to take over all of his consciousness.
Sure.
And she is very concerned about this woman, and he's starting to feel as if she might have a feeling towards this person.
Yeah. Well, it can be frightening if you don't. You have some control, but clearly if she's beginning to affect you. Has that ever happened before?
Not to this level. Some of them have always been stronger than others, but Riley's never been this strong. The one that's been the strongest is usually Ruckus.
Well,
Which is also the first.
yes. Absolutely. What I guess the question to ask is, are you doing anything before the evening passes? They offered to help her, but they need to know certain things.
Yeah, he fights all of his urge and self-control, and uses the little bit of self-control that he has to not do that. But through the evening, Riley's consciousness comes back into him, and while he's dreaming, and in the morning he has the feeling that he has to go and find out and how to help Chiller.
Understood. Thought you managed to race home ahead of everyone else and you can get that mandatory 5 hours of sleep. You're going to call into work tomorrow?
Yeah, it's just the incident at the Italian restaurant really left me shaken, and I think it's affected my immune system. I think I'm coming down with it. I just think I need the day to just pull myself back together. I mean, if I feel better, like later, I can try and come back in. But I think I won't be in the morning for sure.
Nice, Andy. Nice.
Well, we are giving people liberal leave since all of this terrible business happened downtown.
I know there was nothing like this in Minneapolis. Like it's oh God.
Do you need to see someone? We can we can send you a therapist.
I think if I can just have like the morning to just kind of pull myself together, I think I'll be all right. But I mean, did you see what happened to the train? Jesus. Oh, I'll be fine. I'll let you know though if I do need someone, but I think I'll be okay.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to. You just have to be prepared. That's all. We might have double work.
I'll still get the work done. Don't worry about that, sir. It's a Midwestern work ethic. If I have to come in on the weekend, absolutely, I'll make sure it gets done. But I just need a little me time.
Absolutely. We'll be glad to help you.
So that's I guess my 6:55 speech.
Okay.
And if you had anything planned before then,
oh no,
ahead. But
if no one else is doing anything, Gazorp will wake up in the morning feeling absolutely refreshed.
I will wake up after still 5
Everyone else in that house feels good, but Gazorp feels great. Everyone else has got shattered nerves, especially Scaredevil. Scaredevil, have you ever basically been up all night?
I'm kind of mad at him. I'm mad at him right now. I'm just mad at Gazorp Resort right now.
Okay.
Right?
It's like, you cannot snore any louder.
You wake him up?
He has his mask off, but he No, wait, what? Everybody's sounding too fast.
Well, Aunt Martha was up ahead of everyone else in the house and made a whole ton of wheat cakes and some sausage and a gravy mixture and a fruit salad and 2 cakes and a pie and some homemade biscuits. She also managed to do all the vacuuming and cleaning before any of you got up, which is odd.
He has his mask off, but he still has his hood up.
Sure.
And he still can't see his face. But he's actually going to cook his own food, he thinks he could do.
Sure.
If he could do that.
Absolutely. But the rest of the food's delicious for those who would like a quick breakfast.
Yeah.
And
I'm just making bacon and pancakes, basically.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of pancakes. She made nothing, but wheat cakes are effectively pancakes.
Yes, knowing that the only person that this old woman has seen is Riley, she emerges back downstairs, and the shares her breakfast. It's wonderful, much better than any food that she's had in months when she was in whatever this institute was. and she looks at Scaredevil and says, "You look angry again. What?
No, I don't.
Why are you so angry?"
Maybe it's because of the zippers are snoring I had to hear all night.
Okay. Well,
I think I only got like 2 hours and 1 hour to sleep because of him.
you're a young man. Deal with it.
I know.
So, we did do something very important last night.
What?
We didn't make a rally point. Where are you meeting the other two? At the coordinates? Because it was never said. It just kind of left.
Oh, we gotta go to the coordinates. Go to the resort. Come
You know
on.
where they are? Because the person that has those coordinates, I believe, is Beacon. And she looks at you very, very kind of, with really big eyes and a realization.
Yeah,
then that
Beacon
hits you
has the
that you
coordinates.
don't know where the coordinates are. Yeah.
So wait, which? I was gonna say, do you know any of yours that can like see or like kind of where they
What?
are or something?
What are you asking me?
I'm saying just like maybe like telepathic or something like, so you can see like tell where they are or something.
And Aunt Martha's in the room, isn't she?
She's actually in the kitchen making more flapjacks.
Yeah.
Do you think we should go down
I
to
don't
that
really
area?
know what you're talking about there, Scaredevil. But what I can tell you is this. And she looks directly at Aunt Martha. We may want to talk about this in a different place than in front of your aunt. And she gets up and walks away. Now, is Gazorpazorp in the room with us?
As far as I know, I'm on a couch. I'm not sure if it's in the same room.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
He'd probably
Riley
be awake
makes
at
her
this
way
point watching
downstairs.
this.
Nope, you're not. Riley makes her way down the
Okay.
stairs. And Gazorpazorp is still making that mighty thrum. And she walks right over to him, looks at him, looks at her hand, looks at him, and smacks the crap out of Gazorpazorp.
I'm like not trying to laugh so hard right now. He's not trying to laugh.
As a reaction from being awoken so much, Gazorpazorp's going to punch somebody in the head.
And then, surprisingly, in front of you, you don't see Riley. You see what you've known to be the man.
I'm perceiving
And when you go to punch him,
whatever is
Or
there
anything else
is now
happens.
on the other side of the room because I just punched it.
okay,
That's what I'm perceiving.
yeah,
May I interrupt before
Okay, go
anything
ahead.
else happens?
Yep.
The old lady, before anything else occurs, turns around casually. I certainly hope you're not going to get violent in the house.
No.
Apparently too late.
yeah. What is going to happen as far as from Justice, because that's what has changed very quickly too. He puts up a little bit of a telekinetic barrier between him and Gazorpazorp, and
Which
he is
is
not
good.
bothered by that.
Which is good because it only sends you back about 30 feet into the wall when he hits the barrier.
Right, which is fine, but it should protect him from.
At least from this initial, from this initial onslaught, yes. Gazorpazorp, are you pressing the issue?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Well, the retaliation strike is that Syndicate switched over to Justice and put up a barrier, but something that was kind of odd is normally when Justice puts up a barrier, it stops damage. This time when you hit him, he actually went back as if he was hit. No damage has been done yet to anyone, but it definitely is something that it's like, excuse me, it's clearly, Gazorp, you went with did you go with a solid punch, a reactionary punch?
A wake up. Why the hell did you wake me up like that punch? Yes. Yeah.
When he hits,
Yeah,
that's clearly something that's interesting that's happened. And at that point, the old lady says, "Children, y'all aren't going to fight in here, are you? I don't like roughhousing in the house."
If Gazorp is awake,
No.
which I think he is, he's absolutely not. No, he's just like, somebody punched him, he punched back, and he's like, oh, it's you, whatever.
Right when this is happening, I am going to get some of the breakfast so I can bring it to him.
Sure.
So then he can just trying to be a nice one right now.
Coffee, beer.
Yeah, I give him I still had the beer left over, so I just give him one of those. Then I give him some the wheat cakes or something. Saying here's your breakfast. Beers and pancakes, basically.
Unexpectedly, didn't know breakfast was coming, but is very excited about it and eats proficiently.
You have a good breakfast. Across the city's thought you've been up for a little while and have made your, hey, I've got the mental cold. So one benefit you have is that they are not going to check or question,
Right. Yeah. I'm probably
Is
not the only
here
person
now?
calling out sick. So when 7 o'clock rolls around, I did look at the coordinates that Beacon showed everybody.
Okay.
And I will be at those coordinates at 7 o'clock. In costume. Depending on how it's set up, it's like if it was Times Square,
sure.
I'd probably just be in the middle because no one cares if you look like at Times Square. If it's a less busy area, I probably would kind of try and hang out off to the side and not draw quite so much attention.
Okay. Well, you have dinner.
You have dinner.
All right, come on. It's time for you to go out. Thanks for visiting. Nice to see you. Don't push the door open again. Stop working handles. We don't need to have another one of those incidences like we did before. Where did y'all want to coordinate your meeting? Did you just want to use the beacon and plan to meet after? I assume that you're going to meet at a central location. Did y'all decide?
I was gonna say a restaurant or something, maybe somewhere that's somewhere that's not. That's
Could meet in the park.
that is true.
Any thoughts, Beacon, where you would have suggested?
Yeah, because you're the de facto leader.
Wherever the ordinance said, I wouldn't have. I'm not much into subtlety, so I probably would have just said wherever that is. I will say that I would probably be there closer to 6:30.
Sure.
Other than that, wherever those coordinates were, what were they?
Well, that's what I was about to tell you. You do have a coordinates if you want to meet there. If you want to go there and just be there, you'll find that the coordinates are up near an area called Inwood Hill Park. It's at the very northern tip of Manhattan. It is a fairly expansive woodland area that's not been as developed. Although you're across the river from, Yankee Stadium and you're up by MTA, this is indeed a place where the only caves that exist really in the greater Manhattan area are found at the very northern tip. And if you're reading these coordinates right, it'll put you almost at the northmost point near Henry Hudson Bridge.
Did we see thought anywhere?
Well, it depends. If you're going right to the coordinates, if that's where you're planning on
I'm saying,
meeting,
I'm saying, like, does he live in the same place we live, or does he live somewhere else?
I think he lives somewhere else, and he was just going to meet you there.
Well,
We didn't coordinate anything beyond those coordinates at 7 in the morning. I mean,
That's all it said.
Yep.
Mhm.
Perhaps a lesson to be learned.
Yeah.
Yes. We didn't plan this very well. But so very quickly, not very quickly, all of the aggression has been taken out. Riley has joined the fold again. He walks up to the big guy and she goes, hey, Gazorp, I'm sorry, buddy. I just didn't know you're so big and beefy. And I thought if I just tapped you on the shoulder, you might not wake. I won't do it again.
Hey, I give you a beer, man. Be nice.
All right. Well, there won't be a problem. So when you're done eating, we should probably make our way there, because apparently we do have the coordinates. I wasn't aware.
Let's do it.
All right, there, big guy. Hey, Aunt Martha. Thank you for the hospitality. I'm sure I'll see you around.
Absolutely. Come back and visit. Now, Peter, make sure
we'll bring
you take a coat. It's going to be very cold out there tonight.
We'll make
I've
sure
been
Peter
wearing pants.
be nice to her. Riley
That's
says.
very hard.
So it's we make our way, the three of us. I'm assuming Zorp has on his large coat again to not alarm the world.
Yep.
Well,
And before we left, can I say this? So I gave like Google Resort some like the bullets that he could use for his gun and all that. I got himself some for me. So then if we, yep.
Jeez, Weezy is
Well, I'm
really
the-
about that gift.
Well, I'm the one that's
Very-
done with all the
that's
guns,
very
so
kind.
you just gotta ask me for anything.
Yeah, it's good thinking, buddy. 100%. So let's move the story along, though.
Yep, I was trying to get to it faster, but
not a problem. At 6:30, the first person to land is, of course, Beacon, heroically in the deeply wooded areas of the park. The second person to land would be
Just to be clear, when Beacon may land there, but he goes to a place that he's easily visible because he's expecting somebody to be looking for him.
Absolutely. And to give you kind of a rough idea, this is the northern end of Manhattan. You see this heavily wooded area up in here?
No, I'm not looking at anything there. Yeah.
It looks like woods.
It is. You probably land close to this area over here.
That's cool, Mark.
A few moments
That's really
later,
cool.
you basically hit an area where it takes a moment to kind of get through the underbrush, but there are trails and paths, and you're able to hook up with Beacon, and a few moments later, everyone will arrive by 7 a.m. And you're in the middle of nowhere.
and I'm out of breath.
Woods. but the little beacon thing in your hand, beacon's beacon, begins to glow faintly and emit a small pulse.
I check it out.
When you move it around, the pulse gets brighter.
I'll follow that.
It leads over toward an area of caverns that these are very small caves. They don't really, when I say cave, I mean it's just naturally occurring rocks, but it goes near one.
Mm-hmm.
I shall speak, not yelling, but just a hearable voice. Darrow?
It continues to glow a bit as you see that these caverns are just like literally places within the rock. But as you move closer to one of them, probably as you're going down this way, you see that honestly a period of internal rock shifts open. Like in the mouth of one of these caverns, the rock actually begins to rotate out. And it opens up into an elevator shaft with an elevator in it. Not just the shaft, you get the whole thing. And it looks like this elevator is clean, pristine, and somewhat, it's a metallic room with well-lit, sort of like you'd see something off Star Trek. Next Generation.
Is Wesley there?
He is. He's laying on the floor. He has a knife sticking out of his back with a little note saying, "No Will Wheaton cameos."
Huh?
It looks like we're going this way. Who's with me? All right, head in.
You enter into the elevator.
I do.
Weird.
I did too.
Is anyone not getting in the elevator?
I think we all should.
fit in the elevator?
Absolutely. This thing is big enough that it seems like the two Gazorpazorps could fit in here comfortably.
That's what's up.
3, however, could probably be too many. You step in. Is it everyone's going in? I take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The elevator door seals. The poison gas begins to basically emerge, as well as the electric eels. The death trap is absolutely complete. Well, thanks for playing. Hope you all had a good time.
Wonderful.
But first, I'm going to kill the other so they don't die agonizing death.
It's too late. Everyone's died an agonizing death. Or we could just go with the other thing. The thing actually has one of those weird, like motionless elevator cars that seems to be moving very fast and yet doesn't really convey how fast. You open the damn door. Man.
The elevator door.
The elevator meows.
Does it move at cat-like speed?
It is. It also apparently can open doors that have been shut. Good job, Wookie. Now, do something else. Go find me a bunch of money. This isn't already mine. Go. Be free.
And then he just finds it.
I will not cut you in. I pay for your food. I scoop your poop. I figure I'm entitled to this large amount of money.
Luckily, you've already told us. You just told us that you have a large amount of money that is yours. So now we can set up a grift.
Absolutely. I have
Now we're all booking flights to Virginia.
I have 500 pennies in this box. So,
There's one I
you
got.
know, the trip to Virginia might cost a little more than that for the 500 pennies. Just thought I'd warn you.
So what does this elevator do? You say it's moving at
It is. And a
fast.
moment later, it opens up. Apparently, you've arrived at your destination in a long hallway that is lit by lights click on as the doors open, and the hallway extends probably at least 100 feet with smooth metallic walls on either side, leading to a larger room up ahead.
I'll head that way.
You hear vaguely the sound.
Unless it's a LIFO elevator and I'm stuck behind the others.
No.
last in, first out.
No. Surprisingly, you're fairly comfortable. The sounds of Cab Calloway, however, can be heard from down the hallway.
I will approach the sounds of Cab Calloway. Heidi, Heidi, hi.
Howdy, howdy, ho. You, as a group, you proceed, I would assume. You get into a larger room. The room actually has a recessed. Let's do this differently. So, the room itself is probably rounded like a rotunda. It has a little area when you come in that it actually drops down a little bit. And there's a circular table and what looks to be a coffee service with two cisterns, large silver services with an entire set of danishes and various breakfast sort of things, croissants. And a moment later, out of another door from down below, you see a large African-American fellow in his 60s. And it can only be Ulysses Darrow, and he's got an apron on as if he's been cleaning some things off. Oh, good morning. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure what you'd want, so I've got a variety.
Why does everybody want to feed us?
Well, I don't get to New York much often, and it's always good to find old delicatessens and bakeries that you know from your younger days.
We appreciate that. But I suspect we have more pressing matters.
I think some of these matters
That's not to think on an empty stomach, though. What?
He always wants to eat.
Well, I have decaf and regular and hot water, and I was able to find a few. I was able to get some tea. I didn't think we had anything in the reserves that you really wanted. And I'm all for getting right down to it. You said you saw Jack Ransom. When did you see him?
Yesterday.
No,
Dave.
2 days ago, 3 days ago.
I believe so.
Have you been following? Do you follow the news of the area?
I'm sorry, I've been out of contact with much of the news for a while.
I understand. I didn't know. I didn't want to make an assumption. So, you're a well-connected man, I suspect. So, again, Mark, 2 days ago? When did the train incident happen?
About 2 days ago. Yep.
So 2 days ago, there was an incident involving a high-speed train, and the supervillain.
I forgot the.
I'm sorry, scared of it?
I'm just trying to think of
Hey,
the
scared
name.
of it. I suggest that only one of us talk at a time. Why don't we let
I'm
Beacon take this? He's going to explain it well.
I'm just trying to talk in my head. I was trying to talk in my head, but it came out.
The supervillain Ark attacked this train. We found out later, without getting into detail unless you wish it, that apparently the target of this attack was Mr. Ransom, who several of us saw. And we later found out that it appears that Mr. Ransom, as I told you earlier, had paid Ark to kidnap him. So that's. I look around at the rest of the group. That's the summary of it. If anyone else has anything I missed, feel free to add it in.
There was a backup plan that I don't think we ever actually found out completely about, but yeah, that was the gist of what we got, was that he tried to get himself kidnapped.
At that point, Ulysses Darrow kind of was looking. He had a cup of coffee. He was looking into it while you were describing. Well, Jack Ransom was an associate of ours back in the day, and he was what he did effectively led to the ending of the society. I swear he was dead. I mean, he has to be old as I am, and he didn't have the benefit of my abilities. I think Jack Ransom, if he's alive, he showed up here. From what you're saying, it's clear to me that he's trying to uncover some things here. He had a direct hand in destroying us.
Destroying the Distinguished Society or the incident of the following day?
There's a lot of reason to believe that both had the same origin. I'm not really at ease discussing this with a bunch of strangers, but I've always had a gift. I can usually look at a person and see if I like them or not. And I like you. That's good.
Is he saying that to the group of us?
Yeah.
Or is he saying that directly to Beacon?
No, he's saying it. He's looking over each of you. It's a
Okay.
gift. Jack
Well,
Ransom.
I understand your innocence, but I mean, the more we know, the more we can accomplish. So, trust your judgment.
Well, here is generally what happened. Jack Ransom was an associate member of the society. He never made it into parts of the society's headquarters, and he never knew of the back door or anything but the way that he was brought in. After what he did, all of his access was lost. I think he's trying to lure one of us out to regain access to this place. But I'll be honest with you. It's not an easy story to tell. One moment. What? There. Leave me alone. Okay. It's not an easy story to tell.
Okay.
What happened was this. The Distinguished Society had been running strong for 30 years, but one of our members had left, and I didn't think he was coming back. In a lot of ways, he was the heart and soul of our group. Heroes began to show up with regularity. After the Second World War, there were a lot of us. So the society had turned its attentions more toward working with the government to find scientific methods to resolve certain problems. Ransom had become, he never really was one of us. Back in 1960, however, we needed another person that knew the ins and outs of dealing with a certain group of individuals in South America. We were asked by the United States Army to recover a trove of items that the Germans had smuggled out of Berlin during the last days of World War II. Ransom, myself, Lady Harker, Captain Crossbones, Rula the Jungle Girl, Fedor Sandoval, who was our scientist, and Reagan Warhawks. You might have known her, Little Orphan with the ebony curls. They made a movie about her in the 80s. A musical, I think. I wouldn't see it because it insulted her memory. We journeyed to South America and recovered we dealt with some remnants of the Third Reich. We recovered the items in question, and it turned out that the items were fairly pointless, except for one thing in particular, a book. And this book was not unlike any book we'd ever seen. It was sealed, and it seemed to be radiating an energy which I had never seen before. Lady Harker and our associate Marvelo the Enchanter said that they knew the book, but they needed more time to research it, so they brought it back here. As I said, the book was sealed, and Marvelo was probably one of the greatest magicians I've ever known. He couldn't open the book. But Jack Ransom arrived one night drunk. He had it out with Rula the Jungle Girl, and then He made his way to where we stored the book, and he opened it and unleashed a power. That's the best way I can describe it. It sundered Rula, and it damaged Marvelo's ability, but Marvelo was able to shut the book. Ransom, of course, let it be known on certain occasions a lot of the ways he thought of it. Captain Crossbones nearly killed him. Should have killed him, I think. But cooler heads, mine included, thought it was best just to get rid of him. Ban him from the headquarters, prevent him having ever have access again, while we nursed our dead and wounded. No one had actually died. I think death would have been preferable. Well, it broke the will of us. Without our heart and our guidance, we couldn't move forward. So we opted that the best thing we could do was shut everything down, go back to where we had been. And the very next day, the fall happened. The Distinguished Society was lost in the mix. I went back to what I did best. I tried to solve problems. I realized that those problems couldn't be solved so easily. The cat, for instance, jumping up on the computer. That's a terrible problem. It's still being dealt with every day. What I knew...
I feel that every day.
What I knew for a fact was that Jack Ransom, either willingly or unwillingly, destroyed the Distinguished Society. But he wasn't alone. We were just as equally responsible for what happened to our people. I left. I went back to do what I did best. I solved problems. There was a lot of work that needed to be done for a lot of people who weren't just caught in the middle of a superhero battle. And that's where I've been devoting my time and energies. I've lost track, either through the choices that they've made or how things were with the other members. Some of them have passed on. A number of them have. And until today, I would have believed that Jack Ransom had died. But if you told me you saw him, and more importantly, he's paid to have himself kidnapped, or what have you, then I have to believe that the two things are connected. What I find most interesting is that Jack Ransom has been missing from the public eye since the early 1970s. And now he's reappeared 40 years later. It destroyed us.
Apparently.
It destroyed all of us in one way or another. With that, Mr. Darrow kind of looks back down to his coffee. I'm going to get a refill. Walks over and refills his coffee. I will tell you this, though. Not a day goes by after what he did to Rula, I didn't think about Jack Ransom being dead. And that's horrible for me to say. But it's true.
Sorry.
Welcome back. Does that help you at all? Or what questions can I answer you?
Repeat everything you just said.
All right, then.
So you said that Ransom originally had no powers. Explain to me again exactly his interaction with this book.
We were asked by the United States Army to recover what we consider to be may I step back?
Right.
It's a protracted story. I'll give you as much as I know. During World War II, the Germans and the Axis established something called Project Beowulf. Project Beowulf was their method of gathering accelerated science, mystical artifacts, anything that they felt would give them a real advantage in the war. Not just Germany, but the Axis in general. And the project was massive. They were headquartered out of a facility that was in Stuttgart, and during the last days of the war, many attempts to get those items out of Germany were made. The book was part of a cache, if you will, of artifacts that may or may not have power but had historical relevance. We went to recover this cache, ran into a number of old German soldiers. The book was simply part of it. It wasn't even listed as being anything important. We later learned that the book was something called the Book of Wonder. I'm not a mystic. I don't know a lot about it. But I know that it was apparently when they realized what it was, Lady Harker and Marvolo became very quiet. And Marvolo was in the processes of finding a way of destroying it or moving it without play somewhere else. Marvolo was convinced that there was no ordinary way to open the book. Jack Ransom felt that he was being excluded. He felt that he had been excluded all of his life. He felt that he deserved more recognition, more respect. He felt that he was a man of his era. The Jack Ransom that did the crusading reporting, he had some skill, but really Jack was a bully. Jack was used to a certain way of thinking that bordered on misogynistically racist. He would often try to force himself into situations that he wasn't really engaged with. Several times he tried to force himself on Rula, and I stopped her from gutting him. But somehow that night, I was working in the laboratory when we heard it. It sounded like... Have you ever had a record with a needle, and then you basically slowly pull the record?
Yep.
That's exactly what it sounded like, except amplified. It felt like it was at the center of my skull. I came running upstairs, and others had heard it. And Jack had opened the book. He hadn't just opened the book. He did something to Rula. She wasn't the same. And Jack was clearly drunk. That's the closest example I can give of it. He seemed drunk. Somehow he opened the book, and it took Marvolo's ability to close it. And that was just what happened when the locks were opened.
So he unlocked it, or he physically opened it?
He physically opened it, which meant he would have had to have unlocked it.
Right. You said that just what happened when the locks opened.
Absolutely. I apologize. I am close to 105 years old. I'm allowed my moments.
Quite all right. Was the book, to your knowledge, what became of the book?
That's just it. The book disappeared. I'm not certain what happened to the book.
Disappeared like poof disappeared, or disappeared like
poof disappeared.
Like, you don't know if it's gone forever, it's just somewhere else.
I believe it moved somewhere else, yes. But I don't know I'm not a mystic, so I couldn't tell you.
So
really
can you
more
give me more information? So you came in, Jack had the book open, it did something unpleasant to him.
When I got upstairs, what I saw was Captain Crossbones had pinned Jack to that wall right over there, and he was preparing to run him through. Rula was in the other room. Marvolo's hands looked like they were on fire, but he said that he was holding his hands. He had closed the book. The only other people that were in the headquarters at the time was Fedor Sandoval and his grandson. and Reagan Warhawks. We debated what to do. There was no, this was one of those moments where we weren't certain what to do. Ransom had broken no real laws, but Captain Crossbones demanded that we kill him. And he was angry. We were all angry, but he was upset. When we said that wasn't going to happen, Crossbones left in disgust, and I think he's in the South Seas somewhere.
So he's still alive.
Captain Crossbones apparently can't die. He's been roaming the seas for the last 400 years.
Sounds familiar.
And I'm just like, but you can't see, he's just rolling his eyes or something.
To be fair, I'm not certain if that's true, but I'm not willing to test the theory. Either way, it fractured us.
I could believe it.
We couldn't recover from this. We could have recovered from practically anything else, but I don't think we could have recovered from that.
But most of them are like, they're not around here anymore.
Well, I went to Marvelo's funeral, and Fedor Sandoval and his grandson died later. Fedor Sandoval died at the fall. Who else? Until you,
I think you said scientists, I think.
Fedor, yes, he died at the fall. He was one of the people that died. I believe Reagan died. There was an accident with one of her adopted father's refineries, and she died there.
Yeah, sir. The history lesson is wonderful and all, but the long and the short of it is this. Apparently, this man is still alive.
Yeah.
I know it's fantastical that may have happened, but what are we going to do?
That is a good question.
And the second question is this. There seems to be an issue, or at least in my issue, that, what are they called, Gazorpazorp? The people that enslaved me.
I think the Zorpazorp dropped a while ago.
Did he? Yeah, what are those things called that have been imprisoning me?
Oh, they're called, one of their names is the Drager, but they're from what they call the Morningside Institute.
Yes. Have you ever heard of the Morningside Institute, sir?
Can't say that I have. You know, wait a minute.
Have you ever heard of Dragar?
Norse Undead. The dead bodies.
Come again.
The dead bodies of the fallen. Usually they kept around certain places.
Okay.
They're a type of.
Well, they're very interested in me. And my friends. Not them, me. It's a long story. I have an interesting set of powers. And right before your eyes, Riley melds back into Syndicate.
There is a moment where absolutely everyone who's never seen a shapeshifter takes that moment where they're like, huh. However, Ulysses Darrow is about 100 years old, and he just he has a warmth in his eyes, but it's also like one of those things where he's like, aha, that makes sense.
Yes. So the problem here is that I can't not think all of this isn't connected somehow.
You'll find it really is. Well, I don't know the context of the why.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So do you know a super named he's something electrical, zap, bolt, static, I don't know, something electrical. He
Art?
kicked his ass.
I have to be honest with you. I've tried to stay as much out of the world as possible, but I do know who Ark is. I've seen his
Ark.
damage.
That's correct.
He's part of the syndicate.
Well, he's not going to be damaging anything for a while. I heard that they're sending him to Arizona.
They're going to put him in Maxim.
Um,
Fedor's
Yeah.
grandson built that.
That's awesome. Again, all this history is great, but the future is now, and we need to stop all of this from happening.
All right.
I'm not trying to be rude.
This isn't a matter of rudeness, but at the same time, I suppose I'm trying to understand. You see, there is no way a man like Jack Ransom has the intelligence to put all this together. He shouldn't have been able to
But
open
maybe
the
he worked
book.
for something that's much more intelligent.
That was generally the thought that we had while we were debating what to do with him. If you feel that these things are connected, there probably are. I don't believe in coincidence. I've lived too long to see that it doesn't really have the same value. But at the same time, Jack Ransom's back in New York. I think I know what he's looking for.
Maybe the book?
He's
Maybe?
looking for a way back in here to find the book. That must mean he thinks the book is still here.
Do you?
I'm a man of science, but in my days, I've seen a lot of things. I think whatever the hell that book was, it was able to take a goddess and rend her divinity from her. I think what was in that book was able to. It costs probably the finest practitioner of magic their ability to cast magic. And the people that were touched directly by it were changed by it. Yes, I think the book probably is still tied here, but I don't think it's a matter. I think that if he finds what he's looking for, and it clearly sounds like from what you thought the same thing, that he's perhaps looking for what he's lost, or perhaps whoever allowed him to find it in the first place is using him to try to draw it out. Jack has been here, but I believe Jack can't find his way back. It was part of the enchantments that were placed on the society headquarters. So I think he's looking for the next best thing, someone who knows their way here. Draw them in.
Well, all of this causality can't be an accident, old man.
No, it cannot. You say Ark was involved, that means the Sinister Syndicate were involved.
Yes, we man, you really have been out in the woods, haven't you?
As I said, I felt that my services would be better, but I do know the Sinister Syndicate. And I can tell you this.
Yes, we a day or so ago, well, last evening actually, went to a bar in which they all frequent, and we got some good information. Shortly after we were about to leave, the feds shook it down and took some of the big players out of it. But we found that a friend here, and again, she turns back into Riley, because Riley, like I said, Riley is very much on the forefront of what Syndicate is right now. And a friend here found out that his background maybe leads to a man named Pinpoint.
John Clark. That got his attention.
Yeah.
What do you have to deal with John
Yeah.
Clark?
I believe.
So I was younger. I was just playing around with my neighborhood. I just out of nowhere just got shot like in the back or somewhere. And I've been trying to find the guy who tried to do it, and I didn't find him, but I know who it is. I'm just trying to find where his location is.
Have they told you about the kind of man that Pinpoint is?
Yes.
Have they told you about the fact that Pinpoint never misses?
Yep. But I guess he missed this one time and it hit me. And I guess I'm fine by now because I have very special healing powers.
And she looks at the old man and looks back at Scaredevil. I don't think he missed, my dear. And probably the realization comes over Scaredevil at that point that Pinpoint was meant to kill you. But, you know, we found out some other information on a low-level girl named Chiller who knew about the job that we... There's a lot of information, sir. And info dump, blah, 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 blah.
You can give him as much as you can. He listens politely. And you're from the Midwest. He points to Thought. You said you're from Michigan?
Andy.
Jackson.
Sorry.
No,
not Michigan. Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's right. That's right. Then he looks at Beacon, and you're here from the city.
That is correct.
If the syndicate's involved and they're answering to Jack Ransom, that means Jack Ransom has a line on the senior partners of the Sinister Syndicate. Have you heard that phrase, senior partner?
I don't think we have we? I'm going to go with no.
The senior partners are a mysterious group within the syndicate that operate and manipulate everything about the syndicate. It's made up of 4 old friends of ours. And by that term, I mean they're not friends. Your friend Pinpoint was a member of the syndicate. Or he worked with
part of that. Wait, I believe we did hear that. Wasn't that older gentleman that was talking to a few of you was talking to Chiller?
Yes.
Didn't he bring that up?
Yes, he did.
He talked about it when I came back to the table.
Yes, he did. The senior partners are 4 individuals we know who operated above the Sinister Syndicate. The benefit
there was one in the bar then.
Dead. All of them should be dead, but then I'm not surprised by anything anymore.
Seems like there's a lot that should be dead that isn't there, sir.
Well, you'll find as you get older, that's going to probably play more into it. Morningside Institute. Come to think of it,
yes.
I may have heard of them after all. There was a woman, an older woman who approached me some years ago. What was her name? It was an odd name. I didn't have a good feeling about her. I think her name was, ironically, Ambrosia.
Yes, that's her. We killed her yesterday. She was quotation. Yeah. We watched the entity that came out of her leave. I threw a car. Well, my friend threw a car on some of her cronies. And then Gunman up here and the big guy. We all took care of it. And then Mr. Goody Goody over here, he things happened. We had to, and then that's when we went and talked to Declan, and again, the whole story all is a big circle now, and now we're here with you. But the long of this is that our friend Beacon here really seems to be the leader of all of this. I know I talk a lot. I'm a girl. I can't help it. But what do you think, Beacon? There's a lot of information here.
Almost too much.
I agree. I'm not crazy. I just have a few people in me.
I think that's the definition of crazy. But you've given us a lot of information. I kind of look around at the group and says, but does it lead us anywhere? I think it's a valid question.
I think that does. If they're trying to get back here and they're using the Sinister Syndicate's resources, that means they'll stop at nothing to try to gain access, to regain this book. I can tell you this much about Jack Ransom. I have a great deal of it. We had a lot of individuals who were our associates in the past. I know enough about him to tell you whatever biography we would have up until his disappearance. But I could tell you even more if we could get a hold of one of the syndicate members.
I think I actually might have some help with that. You know, that girl I was telling you about, Chiller. She's a fringe member, I believe.
Would make
She may even be part.
She's a plasma inducer. She has the problem
She's
with
a cold.
her natural temperature. Is that right?
Yeah, it's cold is her issue, and I have and if she snaps her fingers and a little bit of flame comes up, I have an opposite effect.
Well, there's probably only a handful of doctors in the world that could help her with her problem.
Yes, the surgeon is where I was to meet her last night.
Well, you're
And
in
it didn't
luck.
happen.
I happen to be one of the few doctors in the world that can help her with her problem.
Would you?
Of
If
course,
she was willing to help out.
even if she's not. It's the right for anyone with abilities to use them to better the human condition.
I like you, sir.
And also, I think the benefit is if she's had conversations with one of the senior partners, she might be able to identify them. Maria, and the computer, the table that he's at front lights up. Yes, Mr. Darrow. If you'd be so kind, can you please bring up the Sinister Syndicate files? Authorization, Darrow, Ulysses T. Yes, Mr. Darrow. What I can provide you is access to this facility. You can utilize its resources. I can help you with your other issues. I think to find Jack Ransom right now is to also prevent him from gaining control of this book. And as you said, Mr. Beacon, what does this all mean? Why, as I tell you all this stuff? I have a friend that used to believe that nothing was coincidental. I never believed that myself until I began to see things fall into line. I feel strongly that your coming together was not accidental. And if you could help me, we could find this man before he does more damage, and perhaps find a way to help some others, it would be most beneficial. Along the way, if you're looking for John Clark, I'm almost certain we're going to run into him. And he looks at Scaredevil.
Mm-hmm. And by that time, he has his mask off. But he still doesn't turn up, so.
Make a suggestion. I know where I know this Dr. Ambrosia from. As I said, I don't forget everything. I just take some time to remember. She was an associate of Dr. Niles Todd. He was one of the senior partners.
I know him. And that's correct, right? That's
the old man who was at the bar. Yes.
Yeah, but it's also the lead guy that runs the institute that they were at.
No, that was Dr. Ambrosia, but his name did come up a couple of occasions. Like, we surely could use Dr. Todd. He knew all about this stuff, like how to core into someone's brain with only damaging parts of it. We might need that later if things aren't compliant.
I have a bit of a strained look on my face at that point. So we need to find Chiller. Is that our next step?
I believe if Chiller is out there on her own, and she has an information that
what's her name?
Huh?
You have other files, right?
I have files. They're not always accurate.
Can I see hers?
I don't have her file. Maria's not been online. However, if you can bring her here and I can have a look at her, I could probably help her.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, the reason I'm concerned about her is if Dr. Todd was actually had identified her as a potential threat, then it's real possible that that's going to be her life.
It sounds like I have several reasons to track this chiller down for her benefit and the benefit of others. So, barring clear alternative, perhaps that's where we should start.
Well, before you do that, he goes over to one of the walls, which opens up in that kind of cool futuristic pseudo pose that everyone has. You know, the wall opens up and, oh, there was a door there? That's bizarre. And every science fiction show has had this happen. Welcome to the future.
Oh, yeah.
Door. He produces small devices that are oval in shape. And there are 6 of you here. So, well, 5 of you here. And he begins to pass them out. And as he's basically doing this, these are the best method of communication with me or the facility. Maria, I've got to probably do some updates on. She's a little back behind the day. Didn't expect to have to do this. Didn't actually expect to be here again, to be fair.
That's always a good thing to be back where you do a lot of your work, but just saying, it's always a good thing to see your things.
Well, you're absolutely correct. I'm a firm believer in the idea that things become full circle if given an opportunity. I'm also a firm believer that things don't just happen. Maybe things are happening for a reason.
The causality of all of it.
Well, I'm a firm believer in causality. I believe in the rational state of the universe.
Makes 2 of us.
Give me a little bit of time, I can probably do more for you. I haven't been in this base since 1981, so it'll take a little bit of time for me.
So why don't we select Killer and bring her here? Give you your time you need, and
before you do,
we'll move forward.
I should probably state this, although it should go without stating. Chiller is a member of the Sinister Syndicate. If you bring her here, you absolutely have to vouch for her. Because if you do not, that would give them an unparalleled look and access to this facility. And no one is known to use this here.
He seems to have a connection to me, sir.
And I assume the standard, if she were unaware of how she got here, the method of arrival, that sort of thing, that would be adequate? Or
yes, and in fact, he'll produce a small device. This is a neural inhibitor. If she agrees to put it on, it will knock her unconscious for a short time. It should jam any internal tracking mechanisms. It would allow her the ability to be brought here without being followed through a technological mean. He goes to the door that you walked in, and you see 2 statues of women on either side of the door. Stylized the Greek style, but they both have weapons. Prior to Marvelo's loss of his ability, he'd installed these. Anyone with magic that tries to come in here of ill intent, they have to deal with this portal. If she's willing to come here, and she's willing to trust, I can help her. And perhaps more than that, we could get better answers. But I'll warn you, this isn't going to be easy. It is dangerous.
But I've had one chance encounter with her, and all she spoke about was wanting to get cured. Maybe not cured, but regulated.
Well,
seem to like her power. They were growing out of control for her.
Well, if it's who I think it is, and I only had a passing look at the notes a few years ago, maybe about 2. That sounds about right. She's a plasma inducer. Her powers are coming from her ability of heat reduction.
That's cold.
I can treat her for that. I won't say that I'm as good as Joe Tungsten, but I'm not a bad medical doctor of the things I can do. If you're willing to do that, we'll talk. We'll see what we can accomplish. But it will be dangerous because no doubt if they feel that she's the weak link, then they'll try to bring her out into the open for a purpose of killing her. Especially if she's had a face-to-face with Dr. Todd, who's supposedly dead.
That's yet another reason to get her.
There's no time like the present.
Well, then we're agreed. I'll go down and get the facility prepared. I'll have to actually clean the lab. I hadn't done that in a while, and I'll have to actually prep the medical bay, but I can do that while you're doing this. If that's fair with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Works for me.
And what I'm going to say tonight, if it's all right with the players, the next session is probably going to be a combat-intensive sort of environment. This is a perfect place to break off so that we can pick up next time because you're going to go fetch Chiller. That can't go wrong at all. In fact, probably the easiest thing to do.
I mean, I could just run down there real quick and grab her.
Absolutely. As long as they don't have another speedster down there waiting for you, you're fine.
I thought I was the only one.
Right, you're the only one in the whole universe.
Exactly.
You're the
You're
only
not the
one in
fastest
the
man
northern part of Manhattan. How's that?
Currently.
You are the citywide hero of St. Paul and the Minneapolis area.
Well, true, until I
You
move.
do have to share it with Mary Tyler Moore occasionally, but when she's not there, it's all you.
It's hard to compete with that hat toss.
It is, and not only that, but she has, with her mutant ability to summon a cute kitten that meows at the end of it. You didn't think she could put up a fight.
I mean, look,
Ability, huh?
I've heard that Mary Tyler Moore can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile.
And you know what? She can, but it's really because she can summon at will Dick Van Dyke at will.
And he's a god. So
He can dance and sing his way as he's beating the crap out of people. And you can't be mad at Dick Van Dyke.
I was,
He does have speed powers too because he does everything too sweet.
he does everything too sweet. You are correct,
He
sir.
does. Plus, he has a massive vehicle, sort of like the Batmobile, called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Pretty awesome.
Heck yeah. And his main squeeze is Mary Poppins, so everything's perfect.
Pretty much, he's a pimp. He's the pimp. Who's that? The pimp. But
anyways, yeah. So I think it's great. This is so much fun. It's very different than what we normally play. Thank you so much for this, Mark.
No problem. Well, next session.
So
I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Mark.
No.
I was just to say, so it's fun, which is different than what we normally do. I got it.
I'm
Message.
glad.
Piss off.
Ken, I'm glad you